Hello everybody, how are you? Coming to you from the forest with the sun. I want to talk to you about flow today. Everybody talks about it, there's so many books written about it, but what is flow? And are we interpreting it in the right way? What is flow for you? I'm curious. Put it down in the chat if you like. Because I always thought, way back when, that flow is supposed to be, me being on cloud 9. 7? 9, alright. I think cloud 9 it's called. I always thought it's me being on cloud 9. Being high on life, being so happy all the time. And anything that was not that means I'm not in flow. I'm not aligned. But you know what? Flow is really the thing. It's like allowing life to move you. Let me say that again. Flow is allowing life to move you and not to work against that movement, that flow, but with it. So when we work against it, we have resistance to it because we're afraid what could happen if the boat is being rocked. We all know that feeling, don't we? Like, oh, things are going well and suddenly something happens and you feel like catapulted back into, why me? Why is it happening to me? This is, to start with, this is not a really good question to ask yourself. And often, if at all, there is an answer to why me. It comes when what you're going through is long gone. Unless you're so good at communicating with life, higher power, universe, God, however you want to call it, that you know why this challenge is coming your way. Sometimes we know, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be learning right now. Or what I'm being prepared for. But sometimes we don't. And then I have often clients who are like, why is this happening? And I'm like, I don't think this question, I get that you're asking yourself this question, but what does it do for you, this question? It puts you into the role of, not being able to move, basically. It makes you feel helpless because unless you find the answer to that question, you cannot move on. So I would say scratch that question. Don't make it a priority to be answered. So being in flow. Sorry, I'm walking quite fast. I don't know why I have this. Everybody's always telling me, Vanessa, slow down. I think I have long legs, so I walk a little faster than others. And I like to be at a good pace, but let's slow it down a bit here. Okay, so flow. Nobody said flow means that everything is always easy, that things are coming to you all the time with ease, the things that you want, the people you want, the opportunities you want, the experiences you want. Flow is meeting life where it meets you, and instead of resisting, noticing that there's resistance maybe that's coming up for you, if the experience you're facing is challenging, but owning that resistance and not being at the mercy of it and not feeling like you're the victim of that experience. Now let me also make clear that sometimes situations happen like abuse, especially physical abuse, sexual abuse, where where you are a victim, period. And if you're going through something like that, I'm really, really sorry. And please do ask for help. There's an emergency line in most places. Please reach out. You deserve that help. And people want to help you. But that's just a disclaimer. Besides that, I'm not saying that if you've gone through a difficult experience, you haven't been a victim of something. But you don't need to stay in that victim consciousness, because at the end of the day, it will only hold you back, right? It's okay to own that I have been a victim of XYZ, but you don't need to keep yourself in the suffering of that identity. Yeah, bad things happen to all humans and it sucks. But let's go a little more into the softer side that I want to explain you about flow. I just really wanted to bring in this disclaimer because it's important. Okay, so flow goes, when you imagine a river, the river goes through rocky landscapes, maybe it goes a little softer, and then it goes a little faster, and then it needs to make its way through the rocks. I often do breathwork experiences with myself at home because I'm a facilitator, so I feel able to hold myself in that. And when I do it, I once had this beautiful experience that I felt today I need to share with you, just as a metaphor to explain you what I mean with the flow. So I did my breath work, and in the end, after the release, after everything was over, I just got this mental image of a river where there were like trees fallen onto the river, a little bit like here, I guess. I don't know if you can see. Trees fallen into the river, and then rocks in the way of the river, and that all slowed the water down. But then I could see in the further ahead, the river led into an ocean. It was actually soft pink ocean, and that felt for me like that's like the unconditional love we all want to reach, but we all need to move along our river through challenges, through ease, through all the experiences that life has to offer, the whole spectrum of emotions, in order to come back to that ocean of unconditional love. And that was such a beautiful image, and it's so fitting, I think, because flow leads you also through challenges. Flow leads you through the hardships, the difficult moments, for you to either realize where you have wounds, and for the wounds to be basically resolved or integrated, because usually with wounding comes loss of parts of yourself. So they are not lost in the ether, but they are disowned. So when we forget that we have that wounding, but we get triggered sometimes, the trigger points us to the wounding. So when we inquire and we get in touch with the underneath layer, the thing that is basically underneath all what could be the trigger of right now, somebody cutting into you in front of you on the road or whatever, somebody not treating you the best, waiting in line for something or whatever, your examples yourself. It points to a deeper wound, and it's always an opportunity to purify, to come back into your most honest, most natural, pure self. And with pure, I don't mean innocent in the sense of you're not allowed to express yourself wildly or live out your desires, because sometimes people equate purity with being all innocent, or we all have an innocence, but sometimes people feel like certain topics are taboo, like making money by being yourself or living out your sexual desires, and that is not impure, it's just as pure. So what I want to say with that is that mostly when we feel like there's something wrong with us, we can resist the flow. When life gives you opportunities and you feel like, I'm not ready, or we feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm too much, or how is somebody gonna react, or I'm not perfect, we basically work against the stream of flow in our life. And we don't allow life to move us in the way that it wants to move us. So instead of looking at the wounding and, processing the fear that's in the way, or the wounding, the pain that's in the way, and that can come in form of embarrassment, that can come in form of grief, sadness, anger, all the emotions basically. Instead of processing those, we often run away from being in the flow. And the flow sometimes means going through that emotion and processing it, so you can take the wisdom, integrate the part of you that you may have abandoned or held back. And by integrating that part, this is exactly what you needed on the way to the next wherever you want to go, right? So we often think that if something happens that is in some way challenging or difficult, we feel like that shouldn't be happening. How are we to know that this is not supposed to happen for us to grow? Who are we to know? Have we read the manual of the universe? Don't think there's one, So this requires trust in life, trust in yourself, trust in the unknown. Most of us are so afraid to be in touch with the unknown and to step into the unknown, because the unknown is equated to darkness, is equated to something negative. But this is only a societal belief. Don't go there. Stay safe. Well, is it really safe to stay complacent? Is it really safe to not follow your dreams? Will you be satisfied if you don't? Or is it actually safer to have some challenges along the way, to fail, which is not really failing, because failing doesn't really exist, but it always teaches you something. And maybe that's the school of life that you actually need to get where you want to be. Maybe it's not reading another book, self-help book, or how others have done something. Maybe it is finally you allowing the flow to happen, even if it leads you through a challenge, because that challenge may be exactly the school of life that you need right now. And you could go into it instead of being like, oh God, oh no, why is this happening to me again, or whatever. Instead of going into it like that, what I'm doing is I'm like, interesting. Sometimes this is hard. If you get a difficult diagnosis or whatever it is, then it's not as easy. But feel your feelings. It's okay to feel your feelings. Don't act like you shouldn't feel your feelings. Feel your feelings. Grieve if you have to. Be shocked. Be afraid. And then take time. And as you take time to feel your feelings and regulate your nervous system towards, okay, this is happening. So instead of me resisting it, what could I do to make myself feel safer in it, going through it? Who could I ask for help? What are the steps I need for me to feel like I have the strength and the support, the courage, or whatever it is that you need in the moment that you're in to move through the challenge, right? Like sometimes you will know it's good, like if you're going through a difficult breakup or whatever, sometimes the challenge is to let that person go and process the letting go in terms of, not holding on to the attachment when somebody doesn't treat you well. Then it's about you processing the attachment and what leads you to desperately holding on to someone that is not a positive contribution into your life. But sometimes it's also when you're fighting to keep a marriage alive and you're both in it, how can you support yourself? Maybe speak with your partner, find ways to refuel, recharge, so that you are open and connected and vulnerable, and allow yourself to, make it through the challenge together. If you are losing a job, or you want to let go of a job because this is not what you want anymore, how can you, gain the strength and the support system that you need in order to, get ready for letting go of the job? What do you need? What do you need on the other side? Do you need a new job? Do you need, like some buffer money that you saved? What do you need? And if you have been let go of your job, what is the first thing that could really support you right now, instead of like completely freaking out and feeling like you will never get a job again? What would help you feel safe right now? And can you remind yourself of all the times that you got a job before? Because, you got a job before. So that means you'll be able to get another one. Yeah? So life could bring you any kind of challenges, and I could give you a million examples, and I know that you have your own. So take that example, because there's this thing called knowledge transfer. So where in your life do you feel really strong, and what of that knowledge can you transfer to your situation? Yeah. There was a comment of somebody on my last video who asked me, I have to read it back, but I think it was something along the lines of, I feel really strong in my job as a baker. I know I can do that, and it's good, and I'm doing something for others, but I also want to play music and write poetry, but I don't feel as confident in doing that. Knowledge, like transfer of one area of your life to another. That can be knowledge, that can be confidence, that can be, a certain way that you're being. So when we're taking this example of this person that commented, thank you for commenting. I saw you, I see you all, by the way. And all to you, thank you for commenting. I love it. And I always try to get back to you in some way. But just know I see you. And I thank you for sharing. So, what makes you feel confident as a baker, or in your job, or with your friends instead of a romantic relationship? Where do you feel? What makes you feel comfortable? What makes you feel seen, heard? What are all the things that give you safety and courage and all these kind of things? And how can you transfer that? And I think it's always good to get inspired by yourself, because that shows you, I'm already doing this in one area of my life. So how can you transfer that to, maybe in this case of the person who shared with us, poetry and music? Well, how can you take what you already are doing as a baker, the confidence and all these things, and how can you bring this into your work or play with poems and with music? Yeah, like, is it the surrounding? Is it maybe in the place as a baker you already feel, confident and safe enough to be your authentic self? What holds you back in this other area of your life? So this transfer can really help you to bring the skills and the confidence and all the things that you have in one area to another area. Why? Because you're already doing it. You just need to reapply it to the other area. So this is a smart thing you can do that doesn't, cost you to learn so much new. And sometimes it's also, how can you maybe combine the two areas? So for example, make videos of you baking and post a poetry or a poem, or speak a poem on your social media, just as an example, like maybe that would give you more confidence. And you can apply this, what I'm saying, to all of your challenges and life examples. Okay. Last things to say, because I need to go say goodbye to my granny, because tomorrow I'm going back to Berlin. And I was visiting my family for a couple of days after Italy. So, the last thing I want to say is flow. Yeah, embrace the flow of life, which, if we're being really honest to ourselves, is not always just the happy things. Hello. It's not always just the happy things. It is as the flow is. Look at the weather. There are storms, there are rainfalls, there are thunder and lightning, there is sun, there are rainbows, yeah, and all that is part of the weather, and all that is necessary to nourish the earth in some way. So all your ups and downs are very nourishing to you, even though it sometimes feels uncomfortable. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. And if you're going through a challenge and you find yourself feeling like, oh my God, why is this happening to me, and all the things, can you take a deep breath? Yeah, that's what I want you to do as a practice. Every time something happens in your life, I don't want to say happens to you, because we don't want that narrative. Every time something happens in your life, can you take a moment, take a breath, and just be present what is going on? And instead of seeing it as life coming at you and working against you, can you just say, give me the grace, give me the courage to move through that challenge? Or say to life or God or universe, like, life, give me the strength to move through that challenge, although I don't know why this is happening. Let me just be present with it. Yeah. What do I need to feel? What are the resistances that are coming up? Is there a plural of resistance? What is the resistance that's coming up? Yeah, write it down. Let it be present in your consciousness. Don't bypass it, because it's important and really powerful information. Yeah. And then what do I need to feel safe in this? Write these things down, these 3 things. Yeah. It's really powerful. And then be with your body. What do you need? Do I need to breathe? Do I need to scream at nature or punch in my pillow? Just important you stay safe and you keep other people safe. Yeah, but process your emotions in a safe way and feel them. And then once you're done with that, there will already be wisdom coming up for you. I know it, you know it. Don't bypass it. And then move. Sometimes it's about moving every day in some way, taking it day by day. Sometimes it's even taking it hour by hour, week by week, month by month, whatever you're in right now. I had moments in my life where I had to take it really minute by minute, and I'm not joking. And that was hard. But here I am on the other side, and we can all do it. And you can always ask for help. So instead of working against the flow, let life move through you, with you, and rather focus on processing what is coming up for you when life gets lively than working against the stream of life. Okay? I love you, and I see you in another video. You got this.